You're listening to Soundside. I'm Libby Denkman. It's election season already, if you can believe it, and one of Washington's hottest statehouse races is for a district representing Northwest Seattle, Shoreline, parts of Edmonds, Mountlake, Terrace, and Lynnwood. It's Legislative District 32. Longtime Representative Cindy Ryu is challenging for a state Senate seat, leaving the district's position 1 seat open. And the candidate field in this solidly blue district is crowded with Democrats. For this round of interviews before the primary, we are focusing on candidates who have raised more than $50,000 to fund their campaign. First up, Keith Scully. He is a Shoreline council member and a lawyer. He's also Shoreline's former mayor, and he lives in Richmond Beach with his family. Keith Scully joins me now for more on his candidacy. Council member, thanks very much for being on Soundside today.
Thanks for having us, Libby. And you actually overlooked one little part of the district, which is Woodway. It's okay. Lots of people overlook Woodway, but I try to always give a shout out. There's about 60 households there, and they don't like to be forgotten.
The Woodway folks are, I'm sure, listening and appreciate you. Yeah. So tell me, why make the run for state representative now? Why are you running for the seat?
Yeah, so I've been on the Shoreline City Council for 10 years. And what we have done there, every single new thing we've had to do, the choice is don't do it or do it and raise regressive taxes. So that's the top thing, is that we've done a lot in Shoreline, and I'm really proud of it. We've built sidewalks. We have mental health professionals in the field responding on 911 calls. We have a new pedestrian bridge going across I-5. The city is a dramatically changed place, new parks, all kinds of stuff. But every single thing we've done has resulted in making the tax situation in Washington worse. Because in Washington, at the state and the city level, you've only got a couple of choices for how you raise money. It's sales tax, which is regressive when you purchase something, or it's property tax, which is regressive when you pay your property tax bill. I've hit over 8,000 doors during this course of this campaign, and my suspicion, which is that the regressive nature of the tax structure has gotten really bad, has been borne out by a lot of folks in their later years who are telling me, I'm 70, I'm 80, I'm pushing 90, and my property tax has become a big deal. For folks who make plenty of money, property tax is, a little concerning. But for folks who are paying 6,000 to 10,000 a year and they're making 40 to 60,000 on Social Security or Boeing retirement, it's become a big deal. So after 10 years in the city council doing what I could at the local level, that's the one big thing I want to take on. There's a lot of other things I want to do too. But what made me decide to enter the race now is a realization that turning Washington's upside down tax structure right side up is absolutely essential if we want to make this state keep moving forward.
So let's talk about the budget and taxes since you broached the subject. You're on the record as supporting the new millionaire's tax that was passed in the legislature in the last session. Tell us why you support an income tax in Washington state on high earners.
So progressive tax reform has to be tax reform. And I do support the millionaire's tax as a first step, as a out of the gate chance to talk about it. I don't like the fact that it was layered on top of regressive taxes. There are a couple little things in there that help with regressive taxation, but mostly it's just another tax. And yes, it funds good things, but we need to fix the nature of the taxing structure, not just layer progressive taxes on top of regressive taxes. And when I talk to, again, folks at doors, even folks who identify as generally right of center, when you talk about tax reform, like your sales tax is going to go down so we can spur the economy and local businesses, your property tax is going to go down so we can stop taxing elderly folks out of their homes, they're more receptive to the idea of an income tax, as long as, in the words of everyone I've talked to, it's fair. And I just did air quotes, no one can see that. But fair, of course, is in the eye of the beholder. For me, it's a progressive tax structure like the federal income tax, where you pay nothing at very low income levels, you pay very low amounts at the next bracket above that, and you pay progressively more as you make more and more money in the bracket of each additional income you make.
And so that would basically, again, as you say, that would be a massive restructuring of our tax code. Yeah. But then in your vision for that, you would say, okay, that gives you property tax and sales tax relief on the other end to try to make that less regressive.
It has to be that. I mean, it's the regressive nature of the tax burden isn't the lack of an income tax. It's that we are imposing taxes that really unfairly burden and in some place crush lower income folks and keep middle income folks from advancing. That's the problem. The problem isn't that we don't have enough taxes, it's that we have the wrong taxes.
So in your vision, like the income tax becomes like it is in many other states where it's not just the millionaires who are subject to it, but people who make middle incomes and higher incomes, and the lower income people are mostly exempt. But this is like a completely new way of approaching taxation in our state. What about businesses? Are you open to, something like the payroll tax that is modeled on the Seattle's Jumpstart tax statewide? That is something that Representative Sean Scott looked at over the last session. It didn't pass, but could come back up again. Are you open to other taxation policies when it focuses on businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually where I was going to go to next. So the B&O tax is based on business and occupations. Tax is based on revenue. Basically, every business pays that. There are little exemptions here and there, but for the most part, when you open your doors, you start paying B&O tax. And because it's based on revenue, not profit, the amount of money that flows through your business dictates the amount of your tax bill. So if you are running a restaurant that is modestly successful and does $2 million worth of revenue a year, which is not uncommon. I mean, restaurants move a ton of money through, but their profit margins are very, very low. That means they pay a lot of tax, whereas someone who's say luxury jewelry, who doesn't necessarily move that much volume but makes a high profit, that business's tax burden is lower. What that means for the business is it's tough for small businesses to get off the ground. It's tough for entertainment businesses and food businesses to get off the ground. And it means that we as consumers pay a lot more for some really basic stuff. And the other area that really hits us is groceries. So groceries are exempt from the income tax. So when you buy a banana, it's tax-free at the register, but the grocery store's revenue, all of it, including from that banana, is taxed. So your grocery prices, part of the reason why groceries are so unaffordable is because we're taxing revenue, not profit. So that's another example of an upside down tax. If you were intimating, and I know that you were, but if you were intimating, should businesses pick up the tab more than they are? No. But businesses, just like individuals in this state, suffer from the upside down tax code. And so we need to right the business side of it as well as the personal side of it.
What about the budget situation? Are state budgets likely going to be billions of dollars in the red over the next few years? Republicans have said for many years that Olympia has a spending problem. It doesn't have a revenue problem. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment? And what do you want to see done when it comes to our budget shortfall?
I agree with it. And honestly, we don't budget that way in Shoreline. I mean, we have done what I described we've done while keeping healthy reserves even during the pandemic. When we've raised taxes, it's been, as we have to, through a vote of the people. And we've stayed within our means when a lot of municipalities and the state government hasn't. The state government has had a steadily increasing budget for the last 10 years. Some of that stuff is outside of the legislature's control. It has to do with, economic forces and so forth.
Inflation and everything, yeah.
A lot of it, yeah, exactly. But a lot of it is within the legislature's control. And more than, some stuff is in their control, some stuff isn't. When you create a budget that has the built-in need to raise taxes, no one should be surprised that taxes get raised. So we've got to stop that. That is job one. And I tell you, we have lost trust with voters on all parts of the political spectrum because that's been the case. And I've heard numerous people tell me, I thought the excise tax was supposed to fix the schools. I thought the estate tax was supposed to fix the state budget deficit. And here we are, millionaires' tax is being passed, and we're borrowing from the Climate Commitment Act to pay for the general fund. That has just got to stop. And that's not a partisan issue. That's not a progressive versus conservative issue. That's just a good government, what we need to do to function issue.
That could lead to state services being cut, however. I mean, the governor has said he doesn't want new taxes this coming legislative session. It sounds like you agree. What would you want to cut in order to balance the budget?
Yeah, so there's going to be cuts. And I have not talked to any sitting legislator, nor any of my colleagues who are running or weren't there yet, who has proposed a new tax. That is simply not going to happen this session. So there will be cuts. There has to be. We are mandated, constitutionally mandated to have a balanced budget. So what do you cut? Well, I start where Dow Constantine did when he first took office in King County, which is he used a 3% number. I don't know what the right number is. And you go to every department and you say, come back with 3% or 2.8% or 5.1% of cuts. and then make the case for why you cannot provide the services your department is providing while still making this cut. And yes, some stuff is going to be slower. Some programs, sub-programs are going to be cut. But I don't see anything in state government that I think we're just done with that. Like we're just done with OSPI or we're done with roads. Like, of course, we can't do that. So focusing on each department and efficiencies is the start. And then I support what the governor has told department directors, which is look at stuff that we started during the pandemic and look at stuff other states don't do. And let's take a hard look at whether we're being groundbreaking or whether we're being unnecessary.
We have about a minute left, so I know this is a big topic to bring up, but last year the Shoreline City Council, including yourself, you supported this, voted to eliminate parking spot mandates in new construction in the city. Are there other planning or zoning reforms that you would favor in the state legislature to increase housing construction statewide?
Yeah, and I can talk about this for a year, let alone a minute, but we are vastly overregulated. And I'm not saying zero regulation. I'm certainly not all about opening the floodgates and letting anything get built anywhere. But it takes a couple of years to get a residential construction permit. It takes way longer to get an energy facility permit. And we've got to clear out the cobwebs there. We've got to completely rethink what we regulate and how we regulate it. I'm focused on the speed of getting permits right now, but we also need to take a hard look at things like the energy code and ask whether we are killing the good, trying to achieve the perfect.
Final question for you. The Stranger, in its endorsement of you, said that they loved your piercing Frodo Baggins-ass eyes, but they also suggested that you should try psilocybin mushrooms before talking about regulating them. So my question for you, council member, is, are you going to take the Stranger up on that offer and try shrooms?
So, they also said that I needed to spend more time talking to prostitutes. And so
they made some suggestions.
Whatever it was, my piercing Frodo Baggins eyes up to Aurora and just look around for a while. But no, I'm not. So I'm diabetic. And so I seriously, anything that alters my level of consciousness is just not a good idea for me medically. So that's an easy out. I'm not a druggie because it might kill me.
Okay. Well, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your transparency. Keith Scully, one of 4 candidates we're going to be interviewing for the position 1 seat in the 32nd Legislative District. He's a city councilman in Shoreline. That district covers a bit of Northwest Seattle, Shoreline, Lynnwood, Edmonds, Woodway, and Mountlake Terrace. Thank you so much, Councilmember, for being here.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And you're listening to Soundside. I'm Libby Denkman. That was one of our interviews with candidates for Statehouse Legislative District 32, Position 1. That is, again, Seattle, Shoreline, Lynnwood, a little bit north of the city. We're going to be speaking to a different candidate from District 32, Position 1 every day this week, so stay tuned for those. By the way, we know there is another competitive race in the same district for Position 2, the House seat there. But there are just 2 candidates in that race who will both be going through to the general election. So we're going to wait and cover that after the primary. Thanks for listening to Soundside. Don't forget you can listen live on KUOW 94.9 FM Seattle at noon and 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or anytime online at KUOW.org or on your favorite podcast app.